What's up, y'all? Riley here. I know it's been a while, but Hannah and I just got back from Overland Expo East, where our rig was actually in the Scout vendor booth, which was a really cool experience. It was the first time that we were on the other side of attending Overland Expo, so really neat. Got to meet a Scout rep and a handful of other vendors that were super nice, so it was a great experience overall. Now I'm unpacking the camper so that I can repack it because we leave again in a few days, and I figured what better time than right now to do a brief overview of our Scout Campers Kenai. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to take you on a little tour, keep it simple, and just highlight some of the main features of this camper that we've been enjoying for the last couple months. So let's go. First things first are these somewhat unsightly jacks. We leave them on because when we travel, we're very far away from home usually, so it's just a nice safety feature where we can drop the camper if we have to. These essentially, you pull out these pins, slide the jack out so that the truck can clear as you pull out, and then you just use a drill, preferably two if you have a partner, to lower the jacks and take the camper off the truck. With two people, it takes about 10 minutes. It's pretty straightforward, and they do come in pretty close to the side of the camper when they're not in use, so they're not too obtrusive, but it obviously does look better without them. Here on the Kenai we have two 10-pound propane tanks. These are plumbed in to a single line. You could put a dual regulator in here if you wanted to. We just stuck with the factory single, so when this one gets low, switch it over and vice versa. It does have a quick connect, so if you want to cook outside, you can bring your 2-burner stove out or carry a separate one with you if you wanted and quickly plumb into the onboard propane, so that's pretty nice. To the left of that and the rear of the camper, we have a lockable storage compartment. I believe ours is still full of stuff from the last trip. It is. So it's a little junked up in there right now, but I believe this is about 10 cubic feet of storage. So we have like leveling blocks and recovery boards, chairs, a little step, just basic stuff that you need when you're camping. Not very organized right now because, like I said, we just got back. One thing that I did do is the struts that came on the camper were pathetic. Especially when it was cold, they couldn't even hold this door open, and it is like a very thin, lightweight composite door. So I went ahead and replaced those. But overall, yeah, very useful to have this exterior storage. Like I said, it is nice that it locks, so don't have to worry about that when you're leaving the camper unattended. Our Scout also came with these bed rail runners. So they kind of complete the look of the camper on the outside, but they are functional as well. You can mount accessories to this, Rotopack, shovels, whatever. It's pretty solid, it's not going anywhere. So if you do use it for gas or water, heavier stuff like that, it's going to be just fine. Up top, you'll find something that we almost never use because our truck is so tall. So that's the Rhino Rack Compact Batwing awning, 270. So it wraps all the way around, and it actually has a built-in mount over there that it kind of nests into, as well as this little knob for bringing one of the legs down for stability. Unfortunately, it's just so high up there that it's nearly impossible to use, especially if you're not going to be at camp for a while or the weather's bad. Scout did correct this for 2024, so they have a new awning that mounts below this window, and you just pull it straight out, so it's much easier to access. And if you have an older model year, including a 2023, they will retrofit your camper with that new bracket and new awning if you want it. Let's go around to the back and talk about what's back there. So there's a bit going on in the back of our camper. You can see that we opted for the optional diesel heater. So that's a Webasto heater mounted in a Zargus aluminum case. I'll hop up there in a minute and show you what it looks like on the inside. Above that, you have a solar powered motion sensitive light. So that has 3 different settings. It's really nice for when you're camping in the backcountry. It can give you an ambient light as well as flip on to a more high-powered light when it detects motion, so that's nice to have. Up there you'll see we relocated our backup camera for when the camper is on. So that's just a factory forward backup camera. It allows us to keep our backup camera functionality as well as the 360 view that our truck came with. Nice little handle for getting up. A lot of people carry steps with them. We just use the tailgate step that is built into our forward tailgate. So believe it or not, there is a functionality for these things. I know a lot of people give Ford and GMC grief for their tailgate steps, but they actually are useful sometimes. In here, you can see the mounting mechanism for the Scout. So these campers utilize your factory tie downs and then these essentially boat straps. So you just hook to your factory tie down, check these every so often, keep them tight, and it doesn't go anywhere. Here we have our information. This camper as equipped weighs in at 1541 in terms of weight, and that is in pounds, not kilograms. Over here we have a license plate bracket, somewhere you could hang towels to dry, and then this is also where the awning hooks in if you're using the awning. On this side, nothing really to see. There's a drain for your sink, so we usually just hook a hose and run it to a collapsible bucket to collect our gray water. There are no water tanks or anything like that on this camper. And then down here we have another drain. This is for your shower pan, so if you choose to shower inside the camper, this is where that water would come out. And finally under here you can see that is your trailer harness, so it plugs into the camper. And then we have the fifth wheel plug, so we just plug it directly into the bed. If you didn't, you would have to run this down to where your hitch is, and that just integrates your lights and keeps everything legal and safe. It also allows you to trickle charge the power system when you're driving, but more on that in a minute. Let's hop up there and take a look inside this diesel heater. Okay, so looking at the diesel heater, here you can see your fill valve, so diesel only. This is a vented cap that you can use while driving, so no switching caps anymore. For a while, Scout had a 2-cap system. It was just kind of a pain to remember and to utilize. In here you can see your tank. You might be able to see how full that is. I'm working with limited space here, but we've used this thing, I don't know, half dozen times or so, and it has sipped fuel. Like it's barely used any at all. It came full from the factory and it is just barely below that fill line now. So it's a very efficient heater. There you have the heater itself. So you have intake, you have exhaust, and then you can see where it is plumbed into the camper. So we'll head inside, show you where that's plumbed and how you control it, as well as the other interior features of the camper. You'll have to excuse the little bit of mess that I have going on in here. Like I said, I'm unpacking after our trip, so it's a little chaotic, but we're gonna start towards the rear of the camper and then work our way forward. So Hannah and I had this custom magnetic bug screen made. It's from a company called Magzo. You just send them the dimensions that you need and they make it. It mounts with an adhesive Velcro, and then you put these little push pins through to keep it from falling off. It's great. It's been a game changer. It allows us to leave the door open, and it closes behind you without any effort. So that has been an excellent addition, and I wish that Scout would come up with something from the factory so you don't have to go out and do this yourself. But the door is lockable. It does have a window with a blackout screen. Up above you have your smoke detector, as well as a touch sensitive light that you can dim and brighten. So that's brighter, that's dimmer. You have 3 of these throughout the camper, so 1 at the entrance, 1 at the middle of the camper, and then 1 over the bed. Here we have our Lifesaver jerry can. So this is a water purifier. So you can fill it up with pond water if you wanted. You could still drink it. It is pressurized using this manual pump. Whoa, it's already pressurized. That was more difficult than it should have been on camera. And then you have your little sprayer that shoots out that pressurized water. Excuse me. Here you have your sink. It's covered with the same type of material the countertop is made of. So there's your little stainless steel sink. Nice for doing dishes, brushing your teeth, that kind of stuff. Here you have an exhaust fan. So it's a max air fan. It's very simple. You just push it up, push the button, and now you have exhaust. So it works fairly well, especially if you're cooking or you're trying to keep it from getting too sticky in here if you're in the humidity. Definitely glad that it comes with that, even if it doesn't come with a larger max air fan or an intake fan. Over here you can see your cabinetry. So this is sort of your closet area. You have hooks up there. We use it as a pantry. These shelves are adjustable up and down. And yeah, you got 3 of them. They're pretty good size. Hold pretty much all our dry foods as well as some other knickknacks. Over here you have an even bigger cubby. This one also has hooks in it, but because it's such a large area, we reserve this for like clothes, blankets, backpacks, that kind of stuff. Here you can see the vent for the heater. So this is where it cycles the fresh air, and then this is where the hot air comes from. You can move this around to direct it a little bit. So we have it pointed out so it kind of comes into this main area and where the dog sleeps and all that. Below this large cubby, you have this drop down shelf that's magnetic. So magnetizes, it doesn't go anywhere. We've gone off-road and shaken this thing half to death. This stays in place. Behind that you have this narrow storage cubby, but it's quite deep. So we have like our shower curtain, our dude wipes. Underneath that we have some necessities. So a good place for things that you need but don't need access to all the time. If we're camping and not using the bathroom inside, we'll leave this shelf down so we can put our keys, our dog stuff, whatever here, just out of the way and off the floor. But usually it stays up and gives us access to our bathroom. So this is the portable Dometic cassette toilet that Scout offers. It is 2.6 gallons, but we don't really use it that way. We tend to just use those camp bags, and it works fine for that purpose too. We opted not to have the Thetford, which is like built into the Scout, because we wanted the option of taking this out when we don't need it and reclaiming all this space. As far as showering goes, this is your shower pan. It is removable, and underneath that is all an aluminum pan that just drains out. There's no risk of corrosion or anything like that. And this is also where Scout positions the fire extinguisher. We relocated ours. I just haven't taken this one out yet, so I'll show you what that looks like as well. Over here, little bottle opener, more storage underneath the sink. Then you have your 2-burner Dometic propane stove, which is plumbed directly into your propane source, so you don't have to worry about hooking it up or anything like that. It comes pre-installed, and it is removable if you want to cook outside, but we pretty much just leave it in here. Over here you can see something that we added. This is just a nice little metal molly panel that we use for our fire extinguisher, speaker, paper towels, that kind of stuff. Beside that is your control for the heater. So it tells you the temperature that it would be set at, as well as the current temperature. You can set it at a specific temperature and it will keep it there. You can also set a timer. So say you're going on a hike, you can set this to turn on an hour before you get back or whatever, and it will preheat the camper for you, which is really nice. Come back to a nice toasty home on the road. The dinette area is somewhat U-shaped. I guess it's, you would call it U-shaped. And it is plenty of seating for 2 people to work on laptops. This moves around, of course, swivels. You can move it up and down. Typically, one of us will sit here, laptop here. One of us will sit kind of over towards this side with the laptop here, and it works out just fine. Also a good space to sit, eat, hang out, have game night, whatever. The top of this does come off, and as you can see, there are these little ledges. You can set it on there and make this into another sleeping area or a couch. Nice little ledge for storage. You can tell I'm in Florida because I have a fan pointed at me during this video. We opted to get this fridge separate from Scout. They offer Dometic products. We wanted this National Luna. It works great. I couldn't speak more highly of this. It is a phenomenal fridge, best we've ever had, and it is definitely worth the price premium. It's super efficient and it looks great. I think that the Dometic looks a little plasticky and whatever. This fills the space really well. We have it mounted on National Luna's mount instead of using the tie-down system that the Scout comes with, so now we have all this space here that we can work with, so extra water storage or whatever it may be. Forgot to mention, these little hooks on the ceiling are for your shower curtain, so didn't want to overlook that. And now we can talk about these hooks on the ceiling. So these utility brackets allow you to hang things. We hang like hats, but we also hang duffel bags. So whether we are on a short trip and we're living out of those duffel bags, or we're on a longer trip and that's where we want to keep, say, winter clothes if it's in the spring, or summer clothes if it's in the fall, we can kind of cycle through and put the things that we're going to be accessing less frequently up in those duffel bags. Here we have our skylight. If you opted for the rooftop tent, this would be your hatch up to it, but we didn't. So this is a skylight. It has bug mesh. It also has a blackout curtain, and you can open it to multiple different settings. So I have it pretty well open right now. It's a nice day out. I'm trying to let some steam out of the camper in this hot Florida weather. We have bunk windows in addition to the two side windows, which are very large. You can see these also have the bug screen and the blackout curtain. What's nice is you can adjust these however you want. You can keep some light out, still have some breeze, or you can open it all the way. You can also, see if I can do this with one hand, just have it nice wide open. These Arctic turn windows are great. They click into multiple settings, so you can close it. You can just vent it by having this in the groove, sorry, like that. Or you can open it one click, two click, or all the way. So these get a great cross breeze going, especially with the bunk windows and the skylight open. So we're very pleased with those. One of the highlights of this camper for sure are all the windows where you can see out from pretty much anywhere in the camper. You can get that cross breeze going, keep it nice and cool in here regardless of the weather. Last thing I want to talk about is I want to duck down here and look at storage. So here you have a storage cubby under the dinette. So that one's a nice big size one. We keep our vacuum, some spare food, and the fan that I'm currently using in there. Then if we swing around, you can see we have two thin cubbies. So these are perfect for shoes, for extra blankets, or for any other kind of compact things you want to store. It's actually a huge cubby, it's just not very tall, so kind of a weird shape. Here you have your power system. It's a Yeti 1500X, so 1500 watt hours. Charges via solar. There are 175 watts on the roof. It can charge via your vehicle, which Scout does include the connection for that. It is not Yeti Link. It is, I'm not sure what they call it. It's a 12 volt charger essentially. And then you can also charge it via your household outlet, which, or if your campground has that, they include the adapter for that as well. You have two household outlets, two USBs, two micro USBs, and then you have all of your, this is our fridge, and then you have all your lights, your heater, etc. Also plumbed into this from the factory, and it works pretty well. It's a little anemic if the sun is not out and you are charging laptops or other high demand things. And then finally we have this last storage cubby. which is a great size. It fits a full duffel bag in addition to some other stuff. So that, I think, is where we're gonna sum the video up. Actually, here we go. We have this vapor barrier as well, which helps with condensation. Scout does offer a bunk extension, so you can sleep north-south on either side. We opted to not do that because Hannah likes to cuddle or something. I don't know. But yeah, let's wrap this thing up. So there you have it. There's our Scout Campers Kenai. This is a 2023 model year. We picked it up in May of this year, and we've spent approximately 4 months in it since then. So not quite full time, but pretty close. And it has been awesome. It's amazing that it is a ready-to-go option from the factory, has everything that you need to hit the road immediately, but it's also incredibly modular and customizable to your preferences or your needs. So if you wanted to, you could rip out all the interior infrastructure, completely custom build this thing, and you would have an excellent shell to do so. Or if you never want to customize it, you can use it as is, which is I think a great option for most people getting into truck campers at this price point and want hard sides. That was one of our things, is Hannah wanted hard walls. She didn't want to deal with canvas, and she wanted this security and safety that comes with hard walls if she's ever traveling alone. I think that I covered everything that I needed to cover in this video, but if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. I'm happy to answer them to the best of my ability. We love this camper and it has served us really well so far, so we're excited to see what the future holds.